G'day folks, AB here from Sportsnet. Welcome to Sportsnet TV, and as you can see alongside me, we've got former Essendon hardman, All-Australian and six-time Anzac Day MCG veteran against Collingwood, of course, and I'll speak of none other than Jason Johnson. What you might not know though is Jason is now a bona fide tour guide from our inaugural trip to Gallipoli in Turkey for the Anzac Day ceremonies over there. Mate, how are you going?
Yeah, not bad, AB. Thanks for joining me, mate.
Oh, thanks very much. nice to be here, mate. Now, I mentioned that you are the host with the most, I guess, these days. You had your first crack at hosting a tour overseas in a non-English speaking country, being Turkey. How did you find that?
Yeah, it was great. I had a great time, AB, and I'm still battling to come down from the high of it all. I think this week at work's been pretty hard work. So yeah, look, I'm had a great time over there, and looking forward to doing it again.
Absolutely. Now, we're here to wrap up the tour, but it is going to be tough, and hopefully what we can put across to the people is that they can get keen and join us for the 2012 or 2013 trip as well. So I guess we'll start at the very start. I mean, I wasn't there unfortunately on the night. You were. The Windy Hill meet and greet. I mean, that's got to be nice for some people.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess as a player, you get to go along to a lot of meet and greets and meet different people from all walks of life, and you're never quite sure what you're going to get in these trips. And obviously, I put my hand up because I guess I want to represent Essendon. I'm no longer representing Essendon on the field, but anything I can do off the field to make them, be a strong club, I'm a part of. And I wasn't sure what I was getting into, but met Lance and Sue, who are a lovely couple from out I think Eastern
Croydon, I think.
Croydon, that's right.
South, and
they were just lovely, and obviously there's a couple of guys that couldn't make it to the night, but it just really set the tone for the week ahead. As soon as I met those two guys, I knew it was going to be a good week.
Now, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but what we didn't know, and I certainly didn't know, was that one of our very small group ended up being a Collingwood supporter, and of course this group's run by the Essendon Footy Club in conjunction with Sportsnet Holidays. So I'm not sure how that slipped past the guard, mate.
Yeah, look, I think Al's a bit of a sucker. I think he's one of those blokes that likes to play a few practical jokes, I think, and I think he saw the clip in the Herald Sun there, and he wanted to get in amongst the Essendon supporters and stir a few people up. So we all know how well Collingwood are going at the moment, but I think Al was there to stir the pot.
He certainly was. He stirred it very, very well, and of course all those Collingwood supporters come out of the woodwork at times like this, and I guess good on them. Everyone has their turn at some point. So
just goes to show it's just not for Essendon people. We all got on.
It was surprising, but everyone did get on, even when we were watching the game. So, I mean, obviously it was a very cool thing for people to do that don't usually get access to the change rooms, behind the scenes, in the boardroom, the president's room, etc. And then the first time we were all together as a group was at Tullamarine Airport, heading off for that long flight to Istanbul.
It was a long flight.
It was a bloody long flight. I'll give you the big tip, ladies and gentlemen, though, for a bloke who was up and about on the footy field pretty much every time he was out there, this young man here can sleep through an earthquake. Every time. The plane was hardly off the runway, Jason Johnson snoring already. So if you do come along 2012, 2013, do yourselves a favour and request a seat as far away as possible from Jason. No, it's not that bad. But arriving in Istanbul, never been there before?
No, never been.
Neither had I. First impression?
I was blown away a little bit in terms of just the size, and a tour guy spoke to us about, I guess, the size of Istanbul in itself, and it's I think the biggest population in Europe, 70 million I think it was. So yeah, just the traffic. I think coming into the city, it was just bumper to bumper all the way, but very pretty place. I didn't picture having trees on the streets and lots of parks and memorials and stuff like that. I didn't expect that, and certainly it was a very pretty place to walk around.
It was an interesting combination of old and new as well. I mean, we got in there about dusk, and I think peak hour starts at about 2 p.m. and I reckon it runs till about midnight. There's about 4.5 billion cars on the road. And a lot of you, I mean, Australians tend to travel to Thailand. We've all done that. We've all been to Bali. We know what the traffic's like over there. They don't really pay attention to the lines, and I don't think they've got indicators. Fair to say, Jason, that it's pretty much the same story in Istanbul?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We didn't see any camels or cows on the road though, but yeah, look, there was certainly plenty of traffic, but everyone seemed to know what they were, what they were doing, or giving way to each other. So there was there was certainly that there.
It was all right. No accident. Didn't see a fender bender in the entire 8 days. Now, we got in finally to our hotel after facing the incredible traffic. Threw down a few beers, which went down pretty well.
They didn't hit the sides, did they?
They did not. We inhaled those ones and hit the sack in the hotel. And I'll throw the image of the hotel up on the screen now. So as you can see in the old town of Istanbul, very, very nice little hotel, and it had exactly what we needed, and that was a couple of square meals and a nice, firm, warm bed, which we desperately needed at that point. So moving on now to, I guess, day 2, but we'll effectively call it day 1. It was the first time we were really compos mentis on the trip, and as a group got up for brekkie. Unusual brekkie, actually. The restaurant was on the 7th floor, which was a bit confusing, especially with a lift that only fits 2 people in it. But we got up there. Did you go for a run that morning?
No, I think I did go for a run, but that was day 3. We'll get that a bit later.
I'll get to that, all right. Yeah, it still looks like you could go around, ladies and gentlemen, despite what you see in front of you here. Day 2, big day. We met our guide, our first Turkish-speaking local guide in Istanbul.
We firmed up a name with him because we had about 3 or 4 names with him on the trip.
We actually don't know what his name was. He told it to us once and he spelt it out and wrote it down, but effectively it came out more like Crunchy. So he ended up with the nickname Crunchy. But I'll throw an image up here of him. He actually, to me, he looks like Ricky Gervais. So he also had Ricky. And then I think Crunchy turned into Chunky. I think you had another one for him. Chucky, the little evil doll from, I can't remember the name of the movie, but I'm sure people out there do. But Crunchy was an absolute genius, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was great. He was very hospitable, wanted to make you feel very welcome, and look, he set the tone for the trip, I think. The first meeting with him and made you feel very comfortable and, organised, and, he took us for the tour on that first day.
Well, his English was exceptional, and you talk about feeling comfortable, and the only person that wasn't comfortable, unfortunately, throughout the whole day, was Crunchy himself, who, you'll see the photos, he looks pretty sharp, and one of the aspects of his dress was his new shoes that he just purchased. He spent so much money on them. I think he got them online, I can't remember. He spent so much money on these shoes, they were about a half size too small, and I tell you, we spent 8 hours walking on marble, concrete and cobblestone, and Crunchy was with us every step of the way, and it wasn't until dinner time that we noticed he had a severe limp and he could hardly move. So it just shows you the dedication of these Turkish tour guys. Now, on a more serious note, we did see some pretty amazing stuff on this day, and the first, I guess, attraction we went to was the Blue Mosque. 500 years old. What was your take on that one?
Yeah, I guess it was a bit, it actually draws you in. It's a bit like, I guess, the Colosseum in Italy, in Rome. You just you see it from a distance, and it just draws you in, and just you're attracted to it, and you want to get inside it and see it. And that was a great experience. The art inside, the Arabic writing, it was quite mesmerising, I guess.
It was, absolutely, and it's funny that the little tidbits that you do get the benefit of having the Turkish tour guide, learning that the more what are those towers called?
The minuets.
Minuets. The more of those you've got on your mosque, the better, and the history of the mosques, and they're more than just a place to.
They're a sign of wealth, I think. The minuets.
They are, yeah. I mean,
this one had about 8 or 10.
It was gold, wasn't it? It was absolutely a cracker, and probably I thought that was amazing. 500 years old, but Crunchy kept telling us, "You think this is good? Wait till the end of the day," and we'll get to that very shortly. And when you see the photos, photos don't do it justice, but they're pretty close. So we started there. Then I think the next stop, just looking at my notes here, was the Topkapi Palace. I think the big one where the royals used to live. That's I tell you what, pretty red hot place. I'm very disappointed. I learnt what a harem actually was. And it wasn't what we all think it was. So that's pretty disappointing, don't you think?
Absolutely.
And Crunchy said, "There's the harem rooms," and we were all out like a shot out of a gun heading towards them. But he reeled us in and said, "Boys, it's not what you think it is, unfortunately." I'll leave you to look up the encyclopedia for that. I don't want to spoil everyone's trip next year, but it is pretty interesting, and it's a massive place.
Yeah, huge. The inside of it just goes for acres, and and it takes up most of, I suppose, the coastline of the city there. So beautiful views out looking over to the Asia side of the Asian side of. Out into Asia, which Turkey owns as
Correct.
well, a bit of.
Still part of Istanbul.
So the only country to have or own land in 2 continents.
Correct.
So that was something I learned on the trip that I didn't know about. But that was a beautiful place, and I guess you felt like a royal or a king for a day.
You did feel like a bit like a king for a day. Thousands of people there as well, school groups, tourists from all around the world. The whole thing. Hadn't really run into many Aussies or Kiwis at this point. and the feature attraction is the Royal Collection of Jewels. Now, I'll show you a photo here of the lineup that you had to endure if you wanted to get in here, but a little birdie sort of crawled onto my shoulder on the bus trip after this one and let me know that you, Jason, and I didn't see you in the line, actually managed to get in to see the Jewels.
I did. I actually, well, I was talking to Crunchy when we got there, and he gave me a little Turkish tip on how to get in the back door.
I've heard about Turkish tips, and usually they're not that good, but you didn't end up in hospital, so tell me what it was.
Nah, look, he just said, you know, walk up there with confidence, pretend you're your Jules, and then just walk in the side door. And I did that, and I just walked in along the side, and I joined a school group because they let school groups in. So I was the teacher for that little outing. So yeah, I got to see the 86 carat gold diamond.
No need to rub it in, mate. One of the biggest diamonds in the world, isn't it? Is that what they say?
Yeah, absolutely. It was found in a rubbish tip.
Yeah, it would have been bloody nice to see it, mate.
And I think it was traded for 3 wooden spoons. There you go.
Yeah, that was the story. Well, so long as you saw it, mate, that's the most important thing. But anyway.
And live to tell the story.
Lunch was spent, no, lunch wasn't there. A quick snack and a coffee there. And then we moved on to what was my favourite. A couple of ways to say it. I'm going to say Hagia Sophia, because I believe that's how it's spelt. So phonetically, that's how I'm going to say it. But this joint, if we thought the Blue Mosque was good, 1,500 years old. This thing has seen so many dynasties, empires come through it.
A few earthquakes.
Earthquakes that survived. You've got to see it. You really do have to see it to believe it. It is one of those things that you walk in and the sheer size of it just dwarfs you and you feel totally insignificant. And then when you hear about the history, via Chunky again, of going from Catholic to Muslim, all these sorts of things, it really brings home the greatness of the building. And it's mind-boggling to think how these guys did that 1,500 years ago.
Yeah, it's incredible the fact that they could build something like that, and it's still standing. I think people were in prayer too. Was there a couple of people in prayer? Or was that the previous one?
That was the Blue Mosque. They were catching up on their prayer sessions, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, look, it was. Yeah, I got nothing to say about that.
Got nothing for that. No, I mean words can't really describe it. Thanks anyway, Jason. But it was pretty impressive, and I think it only took 7 years to build. 1,500 years ago, it took 7 years to build. Note Vic Roads. Take a good hard look at yourselves, because seriously, that is one piece of architectural genius that I don't think will ever be replicated again. Should be one of the man-made wonders of the world. Moving on from there, at this point, we've been going pretty flat out for most of the day. Stop in for lunch, food, Turkish food, okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
At this point, okay.
Okay, gets better.
It does get a lot better. Lunch was a quick one. We decided as a group, the benefit of being a small group, that we could have a quick lunch and move on. That's what we decided to do. So we deviated from the plan just slightly and ended up at the world famous Grand Bazaar.
And now, was it bizarre?
It was bizarre.
A bizarre experience.
You have to see this joint to believe it. I reckon if there's 70 million people in Turkey, 17 to 20 million of them in Istanbul, I reckon everyone else from the rest of Turkey and bordering countries came in and decided today was the day to go into the Grand Bazaar. It was chockers, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was jam-packed. It was shoulder to shoulder, bumper to bumper. It was a bit like the roads, AB. Yeah, so look at shops galore.
There were shops galore. Yeah, very
much of the same shops though. Much
yeah,
of the same shops,
a lot of the same stuff.
Different. I suppose people trying to sell the same thing.
Well, that's exactly right. But
yeah, look, you know, lots of scarves, lots of hats, lots of leather gloves. We bought a pair of leather gloves.
We did buy a pair of matching leather gloves. Never fear Jess or Jody, everything's safe and it's all above board, hands above the table. But one of the major attractions, I guess, of the Grand Bazaar and Turkey in general, Istanbul in particular, are the quality of the rugs and the carpets that they make. So we thought we'd pop in and learn a little bit about the history and the tradition of rug and carpet making in Turkey. It is pretty amazing.
Absolutely, there's a lot that goes into a rug, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll let you tell you. Let me tell you.
There are rugs that have taken 16 years.
Yeah, absolutely. They vary from 14 months to, as you said, 16 years to make, and you know, some rugs fetch up to $80,000.
And the big thing is that often, Jason, it'll be unsuspecting shoppers or buyers that end up walking into a store with no intention whatsoever of buying one.
Yeah, I know. Like, look, we did walk into one, didn't we, AB?
We did walk into one. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to step out of shot for a second.
It did have a picture of Bill Clinton on the front. So These guys obviously know what they're doing. But we met a young lady, didn't we, AB? And,
we did, Claire.
Claire, and she was Turkish, but she spoke very, very good English. She'd visited Australia, and she'd been in Sydney for a month or so. So automatically we felt very comfortable. So
Tell
she
me a little
started
bit about this one, Jake.
Sales pitch very well. Look, as you can see, the red here, AB. I don't know if you know this, ladies and gentlemen, but that is actually pomegranate. So they actually crush up real pomegranates, soak, I guess, the wool in pomegranate juice, and then for 4 to 5 days, and then obviously they put it together. But this is 100% wool. It's a runner that's now taken up, I guess, my hallway at my house. The brown bits there, it's a little bit of tobacco. Real tobacco. So look, I was just blown away by the process of it, how they went about it. Every rug's got a story to tell. Still waiting on the email, AB, from Claire. I'm sure it's going to come though. Of
course it will. Of course it will.
But it's amazing when you actually put it on the ground. You look at it from one angle, it's a dark shade, and then you go from the other side, and it's a lighter shade. And yeah, look, I think it's a double stitch. It's taken pride in place in my house. I'm not sure how Jess has accepted it, but well, she's going to have to.
They are pretty amazing. I mean, as you say, Jose, everything's natural. Everything is 100% natural here. All the dyes, even the blue that you can see there, I can't remember what that's from, but it's a combination of a couple of different things, but it's all natural.
Just the detail and the, whatever that word is.
How long did this one take? Do you remember how long? Just while I'm going to move it. Sorry for folding it up badly.
No, that's all right. I think it took nearly on 2 years, that one.
Oh.
Yeah, so most carpets are average sort of, I guess, between 12 months to 3 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that was the purchase, possibly the purchase of the trip, that one, although I believe Sue and Lance did go back at some point.
Well, it's fair to say I didn't tip back into my pockets for the rest of the trip, because that did break the bank. Not too badly, but I think you were spotting me the last couple of days there with coffee and...
No, I think there's a bit of spotting, and we'll get to the sleeping bags very shortly, but great day, very big day, very busy day, and word of warning for those that are intending to come in 12 and 13, pack some very comfy shoes. Yeah,
look, it's probably... I didn't obviously know that we were going to... You're on your feet most of the day, but that's not a bad thing, and look, I think Lance, he had two knee replacements, and he seemed to handle it. And
battled on beautifully.
He did. He was very solid. So it is a big day out, but I think it's a day that you need to do. You need to get out there. You need to get your bearings, see the sights, and it really did set the tone for the whole week.
Absolutely, and we learned an awful lot. Quiet night in that night. I think we had a quick dinner, and then it was time to really get down to business, I suppose, and get serious about what we were there for, and that was to head down towards Chinook and the Gallipoli Peninsula, about 4.5 hours away, which we did quite early the next morning.